What up, fuckers? Y'all have been freaking amazing recently, and y'all have gotten me to 2,000 subs, which is pretty fucking incredible, I think. Thanks a lot to everyone, honestly. Y'all have been incredibly kind, and I mean, it's just this same year I hit 1,000 subs, so y'all are amazing. For the 2,000 sub special, I wanted to be extremely original, so we're making another Q&A. You have asked me a bunch of questions. I've tried to include every single one of them. If your question isn't here, then I'm an idiot and I'm sorry, and please tell me down below. I've really tried to include every single question. I mean, some of these aren't even questions. Some of y'all are weird, but that's what we do on Northern Rides. The first question is from Cranma01. Favorite cheese? This video is gonna be good. For the most part, cheddar. Cheddar meta! But for burgers, I gotta go with Swiss cheese. It's just superior. She also wants to know, Danonino yogurt, yes or no? I mean, they be asking the right fucking questions. Hell yes, queen. magnustschicaja, what? Have you ever been to a theme/amusement park? Coaster World 3_. They want to know, what is your favorite roller coaster? And that's going to be Untamed. I just released my top 25 coasters for this year, and Untamed just takes the prize. Alright, that thing is absolutely fucking relentless. I've said it many times before, it feels illegal. It's just violent as all hell. Just like last time, we got a few questions from I will Falcon kick your mom. Stay away from my mom, bitch. Since you went on a coaster trip, what was your favorite one from that trip? Well, I went on 2 trips this year that included more than one park. From the first one, again, it's Untamed. That's the one where we went to the Netherlands, Belgium, and Germany. On the second trip, which was to Sweden, Wildfire was definitely my favorite ride there. Absolutely incredible wooden coaster. I mean, RMC just reigns supreme for me. He also wants to know, what is your favorite video game? I have thought about this quite a lot, and it's really hard for me to pinpoint a one favorite video game of all time, but I'm probably gonna have to go with Jedi Fallen Order. That's just the best experience I've ever had playing a game for the first time. It does lack replayability, but it's still so amazing. Will you ever rank your No Limits creation a la Planet Coaster? I did a really stupid ranking for my Planet Coaster creations. I might rank my No Limits creations one day. I'm really not sure. The thing is, I'm not gonna stop making No Limits creations. The reason I did the Planet Coaster ranking was because I was finished with that game. But I might do it for No Limits one day. I really don't know. We'll see. Maybe a top 50 or something once I reach the 50th coaster. We'll see. Any parks on your agenda after this great year? I am 90% sure I'm gonna go to Liseberg and Tusefryd in 2023. I'm also very certain that I want to make a return trip to Hansa Park. It's now 4.5 years since I went there, and my memories of the coasters are starting to dwindle. But other than that, no big trip is planned. It's not certain I'm gonna make any big trip this year. There have been some talks about Spain, Poland, and Finland, but you know, money. Which is better, Untamed or Wildfire? Untamed for sure. It's just a murder machine. I mean, Villas and I are both at the point where we literally think it could be the best coaster in the world. What type of bear is best? Red panda, if it counts. If it doesn't, grizzly bear. I love grizzlies. They're cute as all hell, even though they're absolute fucking brutal and will murder the shit out of you. Mikkel loves airtime. I love that name, by the way. He wants to know, with you being Danish, what is your favorite Danish amusement park? It's a tie between Folkerup Sommerland and Djurs Sommerland. I really can't decide between the two because they're very different, but also very similar. I think Djurs takes it. I prefer the overall ride collection and theming there, but Folkerup also has some points above Djurs, so I think I'm gonna say Djurs. Eric Thomason wants to know what my most anticipated 2023 coaster is. It's gotta be Batman Gotham City Escape at Parguana Madrid. I don't know why I'm doing these pronunciations. It has several crazy elements, and it seemingly is interacting with pathways and more. It just looks phenomenal and crazy, and I'm super curious for that official POV. Civilian Satellite wants to know, what's a ride you've ridden that you think more enthusiasts need to talk about? I've always wanted Vertigo at Tivoli Gardens to get more recognition from some of the big well-known enthusiasts out there. The fact that that thing even existed is just wild in itself. It was literally a blackout machine. Otherwise, Chapas at Phantasialand maybe? Because that ride is really incredible. Regarding coasters, I guess everything has had some attention. I would usually say Wuchebane at Tivoli Gardens, but that has actually gotten a lot of attention this year that it didn't have before, which is really good to see. Maybe Rapture at Gardaland. It's known as the first wing coaster, but people never talk about how good it actually is. I mean, the drop alone is one of my favorite first drops ever. Seeking coasters, have you got any plans to visit Scotland? I definitely want to visit Scotland someday. It's not on the plans for the near future at all, but it's very much on my bucket list. I love Scotland from, you know, an outside perspective. I love a lot of what I've seen about the people and the nature and so on, so one day for sure. Corvus wants to know what my most anticipated UK coaster is if I ever come here. Smiley face. Honestly, it's the Smiler. I've always been super curious about the Smiler. I've always been drawn to it and felt like I really needed to ride that. But of course, when Exodus opens, it's gotta be Exodus. Speaking of Scotland and the UK, but Blake wants to know if I want to go to any UK theme parks. Which ones draw your attention the most? I'm definitely not sure when, but again, very much going there at some point for a coaster trip. Alton Towers is easily the park that intrigues me the most. I've always been very fascinated with that park and it just looks great. But also Blackpool Pleasure Beach looks amazing. Thorpe Park I gotta do just because it's Thorpe Park. And maybe even Chessington or Flamingo Land. I'm not sure. Villas Björne wants to know what my top 5 bucket list coasters in Europe are. Now, I suck at ranking in bucket list. It's not really a thing I'm good at all. If I were to sort of make a guess, I would say number 1, Zadra. Number 2, Batman Gotham City Escape. Number 3, Two Tatis. Number 4, Taiga. Number 5, Expedition G-Force. Floor, if you're watching this, yes, I love Intamin, okay? Kyle Matthias wants to know what my top 5 bucket list parks are. Again, it's very hard to choose some bucket list stuff, but number 1 is definitely Cedar Point, and number 2 is Universal Studios Islands of Adventure. I think I might actually say Hershey Park for number 3, and then Energylandia number 4, Alton Towers number 5. But don't quote me on this, okay? Because I don't know. Really, the only thing I'm sure about here is number 1 and number 2. He also wants to know if you could choose a ride to replace Vertigo, gotta be realistic. I've always thought a small Intamin gyro swing like Maelstrom at Drayton Manor would fit in amazingly there. I'm not sure if there's really space for it, but I think it could be really good if they got the space for it. Or they could do like Grönlund and just have another drop tower that does something different than the Gyllene Tone. Something that could also definitely fit in is either a pirate ship or a Zampola Disco, which I really don't hope because fuck those rides. Or maybe even a Zamperla Endeavor. We don't have anything like an Enterprise anymore. We had one years ago at Bakken, and Endeavor would definitely fit in. They also do like Zamperla, and I would love to ride one of those rides. So I think either a small gyro swing or Zamperla Endeavor is what I would replace with, that I also think is somewhat realistic. Ted Star wants to know what my inspirations for videos are, mostly if Schaffrillas Productions. He makes reviews and countdowns for movies and series, a lot of animation as well, and he's just super funny and I love listening to his opinions and so on.
Haha, the pig is fat. Let's all laugh at him for being fat.
And he's definitely inspired me a lot with how I do a lot of my editing. Also a bit of Quackity and some of the other people who just overutilize memes. And for the coaster videos themselves, it's definitely a lot of Canobie Coaster and also a bit of CoasterBot when it comes to my vlogs. Theme Park Student wants to know, do you have any ambitions to work in the theme park industry, or are you content, no pun intended, with keeping it on a hobby level? I would love to work in the industry. I currently study digital marketing communication, so I would die to work for a park or a manufacturer in that area of practice. When I finish my education, I would definitely explore the options within the industry because it definitely intrigues me. Paco wants to know, what is a park you thought you would not like but loved it? I've never gone to a park I didn't think I'd like. I've always been very excited for every single park I've visited and always thought I would like them, but I guess the one that surprised me the most positively was Plopsaland Japan. I expected to like it all the way. It just turned out to be so charming and so enjoyable, that park. It was definitely a lot better than I expected. Sigurd Kristensen, Boxmadrasse? What? I guess, sure. Ex-Coaster Enthusiast, do you watch any anime or anime-inspired series? If so, what are your favorites? I don't watch any anime or anything similar, unfortunately. It's not really a style I'm personally a fan of, but if I were to choose favorites, it would honestly be stuff like Bakugan, Pokemon, and Seven Deadly Sins. At least when it comes to series. With movies, I just remember that I really like Princess Mononoke. Danish Seagull, fuck seagulls. Waffles or pancakes? Waffles with maple syrup, let's go! FABH Adventures wants to know, how come you are so awesome? Udo reverse, bitch. Melvin Schrab, you haven't been to Liseberg. What coaster do you think you will like the most, and what coaster do you think you will dislike the most? Not including the two kiddie coasters. Damn it. Helix is definitely the one I think I will like the most, without a fucking doubt. And I don't think I will dislike any coaster at all. But Luna is probably the one I will dislike the most outside of the kiddie coasters, just because I'm not a big fan of going backwards. Ollie CS310 wants to know, how much would you have to be paid to ride another Tagada? I fucking hated the Tagada road. So honestly, a lot. Apparently the one we rode was tuned up to a high level, I was told, and I honestly did fear for my safety and breaking either my arm or my GoPro in that instance. So $1,000? XYZ. If you could relocate one park to Denmark, what would it be? Standard answer would probably be Cedar Point, but for me, I would love something like Universal Studios or Disneyland in Denmark. So for now, I guess my answer would be Disneyland Paris, since that is the one I'm most familiar with, and I'm talking about Park Disneyland, the big park. Fishy Grawl wants to know, if you could only ride one coaster for the rest of your life, which one would you choose? I'd like to say Untamed, because it's my favorite and because of how insane it is, but I think it would become too much over time, so I'd probably say Phoenix. It's a really, really good coaster, with a little bit of everything, the right amount of thrill without being too extreme to wear you out over time. Hella fun ride, and super well balanced. Drafs Mannulus, your boy here has gone on a bit of a frenzy. Villas or floor? Good question. Floor makes great food. Villas is a hot dish, so I can't choose. If you have 3 muffins and your door's last name was Finn, who will put the star on top of the burger? Your mom. What's the best coaster to look at? That's gotta be Wildfire. It's easily the most beautiful coaster I've ever seen. The location is gorgeous. The perspective you could look at it from with a drop in the stall, all of that is just incredible. So definitely Wildfire. Are you afraid of any coaster? Anything by Sartorius rides. That is not even a joke. It's not supposed to be funny. I legit won't ride anything from them ever again. Tornado also still scares me a bit, but I'll still ride it, of course. But that first drop scares the shit out of me. Otherwise, no, there's not really a coaster in the world that I'm necessarily scared of or scared to ride or anything. I'll do it all, man. I'm a whore. What's the worst coaster you haven't ridden? Probably whatever the fuck this is. Opinion on the worst coaster ever to phone at Tivoli Film. It's fine. It's not really uncomfortable. It's a fun layout, but it's not memorable at all. I mean, I just don't care about this coaster. It exists. Swiss Coaster Enthusiast here has a great thing to tell you guys. Subscribe to Northern Rides so he's no longer a big sad. Good fucking idea. And to end off, Karen and Fanboy, do you kiss the homies goodnight? Fucking always.
Well,